The PS5 is trash. It's been 3 years since Sony came out with this piece of shit. And over 40 million idiots, myself included, have fallen victim to this dumpster fire. With only 11 exclusive games in 3 years. 11! As well as having one of the worst designs in gaming history, both inside and out. It's about time we take a critical look at the PS5 and how Sony took a big steamy dump on all of our faces. Oh. Sony is a company that did a lot of boring technical stuff, but that isn't about gaming, so I don't care. We only talk about gaming here. What a quick recap. Okay, done. In 1994, the PlayStation was released, which was Sony's clapback to Nintendo for screwing them over. I explain it better in this video. Hey, don't you watch that yet? Bitch. And it came with an actual dinosaur. Holy shit. Are you seeing this? Oh my god, it's like real life! So for that reason and that reason alone, the PlayStation went on to sell over 100 million units, all because it had a few cool games and it played some epic CDs, which apparently were all the rage back then. Those idiots! Ever heard of Spotify? The PS2 was their follow-up. Do you want my opinion on it? There you go. It's pretty freaking sweet, Lois. It could play DVDs and stuff. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, it could play games too. Sony was coming out with banger after banger with these consoles, and they consistently rivaled the competitors with their stupid little cube and the dumbest looking box. Stupid fucking box. The PS2 went on to sell even more than the PS1, and in fact, it sold the mostest. That's right, and look at you. Yeah, you. Pathetic weakling. Okay, cool, whatever. Now the next thing is, PS3.
So here's this giant enemy crab.
And the PS3 goes on to sell a zillion units! Fuck, dude, my voice is gonna kill me after this. So Sony was very dumb and stupid and originally made this console with the intention of, yeah, it's got every port you can think of. Well, you know, this thing could just go to space or whatever the hell you want. I don't fucking know. Ask our IT department. It also cost an insane amount. Like, good lord. And yeah, there was like no reason you would buy this over an Xbox 360. It had literally zero advantages. Not even games, because it was like notoriously difficult to develop games for. Sony was like, you want to make games for our prestigious console? You better learn our game engine and only that. Wait, where are you going? And because of this, Bill Gates was jumping for joy because Sony was bested. Their reign had come to an end. Then in a few years, they were like, oh yeah, we should probably like fix that. Done. They came out with a redesigned PS3, showcasing their ability to own up to their mistakes of being greedy and unreasonable by reducing the price, focusing on the games, and making overall a better experience than the Xbox 360, or at the very least, a comparable experience. The generation ended and Sony just barely beat the Xbox 360. They both had their ups and downs, but this was a pretty healthy reminder that you need to be very nice to the consumers, or we, the consumers, will shoot you and light your headquarters on fire. Then we get to the PS4 era. Woo! The Xbox One came out and completely bombed because this absolute dipshit stood there with a straight face and told people, yeah, you can only use this console if it's connected to the internet. Even offline games I have a disc for? Yeah. Are you brain dead? Overall, the Xbox One was a nightmare. I mean, on top of having a horrible console, the dude in charge of Xbox was literally telling customers without internet, word for word, we have a product for you. It's called Xbox 360. Come on, dude. There was also just nothing going on for the system in terms of actual games. You can imagine Bill Gates was not jumping for joy. However, Sony was, and they learned from their mistakes. Instead of going to space, let's just simulate a jet engine. Yeah, that'll do it. The PS4 was the end-all be-all for Sony. I mean, come on, man, it had pretty much everything you could want. Blu-ray, no online restrictions, no used game restrictions, a great personality, a solid online infrastructure, amazing exclusive games, well endowed, great graphics. I mean, what more could you possibly ask of it? And of course, with no real competition, the PS4 had a grug moment and ooga booga'd its way to the top. So now it's 2019. Sony has won all 4 generations with the exception of Nintendo's massive Wii, but they basically have been on top. And like with gambling, we all know that the more you win, the more cocky you get. Also, if you just keep trying, you're gonna hit it big, trust me. So we all know the PS5 is gonna be amazing, right? Sony announced the PS5 in October of 2019, but decided not to show the design until later on in 2020, when the whole world collectively shit the bed. When they announced it was called PS5, the whole world went and waited to hear actual details. We didn't actually see the design of the PS5 until that summer, which, like, dude, dick move. At least show me what it looks like before you violate me. At the time, it felt like they were literally taunting us by basically saying, you chimps will buy anything we put out, but I guess we'll be nice and show you our next console because we're so fucking cool. The PS5 and Xbox released that holiday, and apparently a chip shortage caused them to be out of stock. Like, dude, they're right there. I didn't get mine until July of 2021, and I've played it maybe 10 times. I wish I was joking, but this thing actually collects dust. But why? I can see why Sony waited to tell us about this shit. The design of the PS5 is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen, and I mean that with zero exaggeration. The game sphere makes more fucking sense. Instead of being a conventional shape, those douchebags decided to make a futuristic and elegant design, but all I see is a 5-year-old's idea of futuristic and big as a fucking elephant design, because this is horrible! Okay, so let's break down the design. What the fuck is this? It's curvy and weirdly shaped, which requires it to have a stand, requires it for both vertical and horizontal placement. What? And the stand has a fucking screw on it. You aren't just popping this off. You have to unscrew a stand. But don't even think about putting it sideways because this just looks uncomfortable. Also, what are these unnecessary thin corners? I honestly just wish I could snap these dumb things off. I have the urge to all the time, or like, you know, just or just saw it off. I don't know. Why is this here? I just don't get it. It fails at looking futuristic. It fails at actually being efficient. And it just looks so obnoxious and in your face. You play Spider-Man. You aren't an art exhibit. Also, this thing is absolutely massive. And if you don't have one at home, let me give you a scale because this isn't an exaggeration. Here's the PS5 controller. Okay, whatever. Here's the Switch, the Xbox, and the PS5. It's half the size of my TV. Look at me. Do you think that's okay? That TV right there. You think that's okay? Look, I understand if you want to avoid by adding more space, but this is not what the solution is. Because where does it end? Where do we draw the line? This is my graphics card in my computer, and I also don't like it because it's absolutely massive. This is not how technology should be going. Stop making the things bigger. The size makes this thing so unbelievably hard to look good or store away. It doesn't fit in any entertainment stand unless you put it on the side, which, let me repeat my distastement, looks fucking stupid. Like just sit and think about that. You need a stand to put it sideways. This is brilliant design in the modern era. Well, you know what? I have an even more brilliant design. It's called my brain. On second thought, oh, but height isn't just the only thing I have a problem with. Make sure you have enough depth for it because this thing is just ginormous. It needs just over 10 inches. Nobody is fitting this inside of their cabinets, and that's just insulting! So if you're like me, you probably have your PS5 out like this. A big, ugly centerpiece that tries to be elegant, but ironically ruins all elegance that may have previously once existed. It's a disturbance. It's grotesque. It's offensive. And look at the Xbox. Oh, the poor little Xbox. Selling like, what, well, like 50% of what Sony sells, despite having an objectively better design. This thing is exactly how it should be done. And considering that the two consoles are equally powerful, I am hearing nobody out on, do the PS5 needs that space for the. No! My Xbox is consistently quiet. It has a clean, easy to work with shape, no glossy surfaces, doesn't beep at me all the time like a microwave.
Shut the flip up.
It's the same price, equally powerful as the PS5, and the best part? Oh God. Oh, glad that went well. Oh God! Yeah, it doesn't look the best on its side, but at least it doesn't look this fucking dumb and it can fit in my cabinet. Good job, Microsoft. I will not piss all over your headquarters for at least a couple of days. Oh yeah, and not to mention that this is the console with no cords plugged in. When you plug it in, you have to give it even more space or the cords will bend and possibly break. So add on another inch, minimum 2 inches ideally, and that's the real size of the PS5. What a fucking joke. Oh, also, as I wrote this, they redesigned the PS5. I know, immaculate timing, and they did the unthinkable. Wow. Wow. At the very least, the build quality before was decent. Then they went and added a line and made the top half glossy. Oh, and they're selling the disk drive separately? Oh God, physical media is about to be deader than my pet hamster.
I'm gonna punt it.
In this stupid fucking stand. Are you, oh my, I don't even need to write a joke for this because Sony's doing it for me. Now, in fairness, a lot of what I critiqued the PS5 for was size. Size matters, so thank God they shrunk it. So they made it look a little bit worse, but it's more functional. I'll let this one slide. You're fine, Sony, whatever. Now, don't you worry, gamer. I'm not just sucking on the teat of Microsoft and Nintendo because I gotta be honest, the controller's pretty good. This is the shittiest controller design in history. That's it. I hate it. But the PS5 controller, oh man, this is actually pretty good. It feels weighty. It has some pretty neato features. It looks clean. You know, I actually kind of like what Sony did with the controller here. How do you make the controller look more modern and elegant than the console? It's strictly a functional design. It shouldn't be elegant, but it is. I like this. Good. The design of the main menu, though, absolutely not. What the hell is this, Sony? PS3 menu, good, epic, a little much, but you have some cool fun themes, and it's functional. PS4 menu, even cooler themes, a much easier layout that prioritizes games. Love it. PS5 menu, this is the equivalent of an H&M playlist. How can you be so utterly boring? Why take away my happiness to be clean? It looks so sad and boring and the only thing I can give the PS5 menu is that it's kinda functional, but that's like the bare minimum, and I don't even know how to find my friends. It's so confusing sometimes. Oh yeah, and Nintendo is also guilty of this. They're not getting off scot-free. Is it too much to ask for fun nowadays? Okay, well, the design is pretty, but I mean, maybe the games make up for it a little bit. I don't know. There are, wait for it, 11 exclusive games on the PS5. It's been 3 fucking years. 1 is a tech demo. Okay, it's kind of fun, but no! 4 haven't even released yet, and if I'm being honest, I don't care about any of them. 1 doesn't even have a release date. It just probably exists somewhere. 1 is a remake, albeit a good one. 2 are expected sequels, and the last 2 nobody cares about. The only reason right now to get a PS5 is to basically just play PS4 games at slightly better quality, if it even supports it. And keep in mind, most consoles last around 6 to 8 years, so we're quickly approaching the halfway point in the PS5's life. But why even bother making a PS6 in 4 years if there's no games for the PS5? Oh, Austin, it still has third-party games. Yeah, but so does Xbox. There's not really an incentive to getting a PS5, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, why do people seem to prefer it? What could be seen as a natural progression in the video game market for a next-gen console is just so bizarre to me. I didn't think people even cared enough about the next-gen graphics to warrant getting a new console, and at this rate, it seems like consoles could be stalling in general. The PS5 is simultaneously one of the most underwhelming and confusing consoles from Sony, and to me, it really feels like the charm of the original Sony is gone, and they're trying to become the Apple of video games. It's obnoxious. It's a testament to how greedy Sony has become, especially as the cheaper model quickly approaches $450. It lost the fun and flexibility in favor of forced elegance. It's now really much more fun to play than the other consoles, and it's just overall not worth it. And I'm not trying to be a hater, okay? I basically grew up with the PS3 in between the GameCube and the Switch, so I'm not biased against Sony. In fact, Sony used to be a company I actually really respected, and it felt like they respected us too. But the fun-loving Sony that I once knew and loved is dead. And in its place is a soulless corporate entity that thinks too little of us to care. I'm tired and I'm breaking my silence. The PS5 is not good. So yeah, that's the PS5. It's big, it's out of touch, it's not worth it. If you like it, you're stupid. Xbox better, Switch better.
You bitch!
Oh wow, what's that? A bomb? Yeah. The polygons. Oh, it's headed to my house directly? Yeah, sure. If the SSD can even load it. Approaching my room, well, I can just shield it with the massive size of the PS5.